it's not something at the individual level necessarily. I mean, you can certainly implement zero waste practice changes in your lifestyle, but because a lot of the way the waste is produced, and what we have to deal with in our lives is outside our control. This can't be something that is done individually. We have to do it collectively as a society.
The Zero Waste International Alliance created the first peer-reviewed, internationally accepted definition of zero waste in 2004, which states that zero waste is a goal that is ethical, economical, efficient, and visionary to guide people in changing their lifestyles and practices to emulate natural cycles, where all discarded materials are designed to become resources for others to use. The definition points out that products and processes must be specifically designed to eliminate waste and encourage reuse.
I mean, the change happens at the individual level, but it's really it's a set of policy changes, large-scale approaches that shift societal behavior in the direction of producing less waste to begin with.
So zero waste could be also analogous to materials management, because it's a mindset that's shifted.
Using and reusing and finding optimal use for every single material on the planet.
Reduce the consumption in the first place by designing products that have multiple uses and that are modular, and you can take the pieces apart, put them right back into the supply chain.
Maybe part of it is political, and I think a lot of it is educational, but most of it is just putting in the work on the ground, talking to people, spreading the word, and taking the time to educate people patiently.
Well, zero waste means to me sustainability. It means the future of the planet. It means it will always be in sync with where the Earth is and where it's heading.
Not everyone agrees that achieving 100% zero waste is possible. However, they do agree that it's still worth working towards. A diversion rate of 90% or higher is typically accepted as zero waste.
Disposing of the least amount possible. Most people don't define it as literally zero, but it's really more of a mindset of getting towards zero and constantly improving and constantly reducing waste. For me, zero waste is very much about not just recycling and composting, but reducing waste at the source, trying to get more reuse of materials.
I actually don't like the term zero waste. I'm more about, just being as resourceful as possible. So for me, is how do you maximize and utilize as much as you can out of a single product.
I think the idea of having zero waste is really aspirational, but I think that if you unfortunately set that bar lower, then we strive to beat that lower bar, and I think that you can always, you should always strive that higher bar.
If people go to the next level of thinking, they realize that everything they buy comes from somewhere. It's international, it's a global, and that all has associated energy with it. Waste in the production, transport, retail, all along the chain, right? All those places need a place to go with stuff. So it's a mindset of saying, how do we peel off along that chain materials that have value and extract that value?
However, Lindsay Granger, a zero waste coach in Boston, doesn't do it for environmental reasons. For her, zero waste is about creating efficiencies with her time and thoughts.
It didn't start as an ecological thing. It didn't start as anything like mission-based. It was just like, let's see if I can do it. Let's see if this is possible in my life. And I found that it was, and it made a really big impact. Zero waste has really been the ultimate mindfulness exercise for me.
Alex Papali, who is part of Zero Waste Boston, doesn't think the definition encompasses everything this movement is aiming to achieve, like worker rights.
The voice of workers was not really part of that zero waste conversation and practice. And so, we think there's something really significant that Boston can add to the conversation.
What I hope most of all, whatever the definition, all the stakeholders need a role to play. We need to come together. The manufacturers, the processors, the collectors, the haulers, the municipal governments, the federal, state governments, environmental educators, activists, environmental professionals that build, design, operate these facilities. Ultimately, several players are going to be involved in passing the baton to one another and make it happen.
We will have, an advisory committee of stakeholders. And that's where the answers come. Everybody knows their own issue, and the better they know their own issue, the better they have ideas about how to solve it. And then it's working together to do it.
keep on striving to say, if you're at 80%, let's get to 81%, let's get to 82%, and keep on striving and thinking about how to continue to reduce it. So you don't, if you're striving towards zero waste, you don't ever really stop.